And I think that's a great lead-in to Ford.
Okay. So the Mach-E.
Yeah.
You know, we had looked at Mach-E's very early on in our decision-making process, and one of the problems that we had in what we had access to locally was that it was the base model. And so Justin kind of left me at the show. I got to talk into a nice young older gentleman, not young, older gentleman, and Justin headed off towards the Mach-E display. And by the time I got there, I thought we had bought a car.
Well, I mean, look, they had the GT version on display. It wasn't the GT Performance, but visually they looked the same. It had the color that I was already specking out to buy the Mach-E when I was originally thinking about it. Mm. The interior was very nice.
Oh my gosh.
I dug the interior, the way they did the seating and whatnot. And it was nice to be able to sit in that highest end possible interior. And I'm assuming that, you know, minus the seat difference, it's probably very similar to the premium interior. But the seats were just, you know, the seats were leveled up. And it was just nice to be so close to that. The rep, I remember her as Fumu. You seem to remember her name a little bit.
Fumi?
Her name differently, but end of the day, she was fantastic.
She was a gearhead.
Yeah, it was.
Oh my goodness. Her and Justin, the passion that they had for cars, just talking and bouncing back and forth off each other, it was adorable.
Well, because we were talking about, you know, that I have the RS, because, you know, a lot of times they will ask you what you have now to get a sense of, you know, kind of where you lean and how to better direct you to potential models and whatnot. So, you know, she knows the RS very well, and she is aware of its resale value and its collector value and things like that. And the funny thing is, she was actually saying that I should hold off on selling it,
right?
Because the value is most likely just going to go up. But for me, I'm more conservative from that perspective. So I'm still going to move forward with selling it. But it was just nice to speak with someone again who is knowledgeable,
right?
And shares that passion, because that does really help. When you're trying to, you know, take a chance on buying a car, especially with one that, like we said, we didn't have a great test drive experience in the past.
Right. And so she invited us to come back the next day, and
first thing in the morning,
let's get here 9 a.m. I'll be here. You come back and we will let you test drive this car.
Yeah.
So not this car,
not the GT, but the premium
yeah.
ones.
So we did come back the next day.
Bright and early.
She was there,
yep.
And she got us all registered to go downstairs to experience the Ford Mustang Mach-E. And the experience was that you got to go and sit in a show.
A presentation that would have covered their big four vehicles, right? The Mach-E, the Maverick, the Bronco, and
the Lightning.
And then Lightning, right? So not only would you have to sit through that, but because we were there so early, the people who were running the experience didn't let the people in the booth know that the test drives didn't start until after the 10 a.m. show. So we most likely wouldn't have got into the Mach-E until 10:15, 10:20, depending on how long that show was. And then that wasn't even the biggest issue, but that was one of them. Because there was no place to get a drink or anything like that, and you're waiting outside we would have had to wait outside for about 45 minutes.
Right.
But what was the deal breaker for us?
It was not a test drive.
Right.
It was a test
ride.
Ride, yes.
Like, yeah, you know, that's not how I want to experience a vehicle, especially because of the price of these vehicles. Let me drive this. We're not on a racetrack, so I can understand if we're on a racetrack, because, yeah, you want a professional driver who's going to be pushing a car to limits. We're on city streets. That is not going to be the case.
Right. So we decided to forego the test ride and went back into the show because we knew we still had a 16-hour drive ahead of us. So we wanted to be able to experience as much of the other cars as we could without having to wait to be driven around like an Uber ride.
Yeah. So